picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Send a coded message for Starfleet Commander, Priority 1. Federation science vessel Grissom arriving, Genesis planet, Mutara sector to begin research. JTS to Bond Commanding.
Aye, sir. Coding now.
Morning. Welcome back. It's Thursday already. It's the end of the week. I don't know how much I'm actually going to get posted this week, but I figured I owed, just to keep in line, to get back onto the Friday posting schedule. This is the Thursday after Wonderfest, and I'm going to sit down here because I'm still tired. And I've gotten some requests from folks saying, well, what'd you get? What'd you get? What'd you get? And I have to tell you, there wasn't a lot of, well, there wasn't a singular, everybody's got to get this kit this year, which is good because it spreads the shopping out amongst all of the vendors, but there wasn't a mad rush to get the new Eagle or the Enterprise or whatever, you know, the hot releases at the moment. It was a pretty wide choice, but I'll show you what I did get. I stopped over at the Blackheart Models booth, and I got the full set minus one of the small Star Trek busts that they were offering. These are sculpted by Jeff Yeager. They're excellent. The likenesses are spot on. The castings are dead perfect. And I'm going to be using these to sharpen my flesh tone painting skills. As you may know, I got a silver award for my Jack Burton kit, which shocked the heck out of me because that's a flesh tone of a normal person, not a monster, not a robot, not a spaceship. And yet my biggest fear is painting realistic skin tones, and I was able to squeeze out a silver on that, so I'm very happy. So I decided I would maybe sharpen those skills. So I got the Spock, I got the Kirk. Like I said, I got the entire set except one, and the one I did not get was Khan. And you think, well, Khan would be a very popular figure. Why didn't you get Khan? One simple reason, and I still can't figure out why they chose to do it this way. All of the figures in the set are from the TV series. Khan is from the movie. From Wrath of Khan. If it had been Khan as he looked in Space Seed, I'd have snapped it up in a heartbeat. But it just stuck out like a sore thumb, and my OCD went, one of these things is not like the other, and that was the one that went out. I would rather he not done Khan at all and put a Chekhov in there, because Chekhov is missing in this first set. I really like the inclusion of the Roddenberry bust. I really like that. That was actually the first one I got. But there was a package deal for, you know, buying a set, so I had to do that. So I got these from George Stevenson at Blackheart Models, highly recommended. From Steve, I got the last of the 3 wacky racers that I didn't have, so I can take a day or two to knock this one out and add it to Dick Dastardly and Penelope Pitstop. And well, of course, you know, I got my epoxy sculpt, and I got a new airbrush. I'm looking for the airbrush now. It's probably right behind me, and I can't see it. I don't see it because I put it somewhere safe, which is, as you know, the death knell of finding anything. But I picked this up from Steve's booth. Now, the reason I picked it up and got it there was because it is so big, and shipping I saved on by buying it there. But it is the actual truck from Wandering Earth. It is the actual, that's the one I thought I was getting. Now, I didn't think I was getting it this big. I wasn't stupid. I didn't think I was getting the same scale, but I thought I was getting the same proportions. This is the actual proportions. And it's a very large kit. Several disclaimers on the box top. This vehicle, the vehicle exteriors are realistically represented as per original movie design. This kit features pre-colored parts and snap fit. 2 vehicle options, and that was what was throwing me, because I saw the catalog listing, and it was for this version with the red markings and the red trailer. And I was looking for this version, which is the yellow markings and the yellow trailer. Well, both options are available in this kit if you want to, and it's listed as 1/100 scale. Product recommended for users aged above 14 only. This is not a toy. Cement and paint not included. So I think I'm going to go with the red scheme on this, since I have that small, if not distorted, yellow truck. But it also has a couple of interesting things on here. 2 vehicle options: the cargo truck, the transport truck, or the cargo truck. And it says an audio module is provided to play the classic movie lines. Now, I don't know if this means that this truck is going to scream at me in Chinese or not, but we'll find out. So an earth engine lighter core is included. So I think that's what the way I'm going to do it is with the red cab, but this is down the road. As I've said, I've got 2 kits ahead of, at least 2 kits ahead of this, which brings us to the elephant in the room, the Grissom. You know, just like, if you could have seen my face when I rounded the corner to the round 2 table and saw that Grissom sitting there, it's like, yeah, that figures. That figures. Spend some money on a big Grissom. Round 2 is going to release a Grissom. And I erroneously, I said it was a 4th quarter of next year, and it was 4th quarter of this year. So 2021, I'm still blocking 2021 or 2020 as the year that shall not be mentioned. So when I see 2021, I think it's next year, even though it is this year. But that brings us to the quandary, or not really a quandary, because I still have every intent on working on the Grissom. I'm going to get back to that today. But it freed me up in a certain respect, because now this won't be the only big Grissom I'll be making. I'm certainly going to buy one of those round 2 kits when they come out. Certainly going to build it. Certainly going to light it. So I think I can go ahead and with a sense of freedom, not stress so much over this one as being the big perfect Grissom that I've got to have, because I'll have plenty of opportunities. I can even make that other one a Pegasus or Tchaikovsky. I don't know how many different sets of decals they're going to provide for that. So that was those were the burning questions of Wonderfest. The other questions I got was about, did you really need to stop on the way home? And the next day, here's what I'll tell you. The next day, I got up to drive the rest of the way home, and about 10 miles down the road, there was a construction site with barrels and blocked lanes and traffic shifts and all that. And I know in my heart of hearts that if I would have had to have navigated that with the driving rain, with the poor visibility, that's where they would have been picking out the wreckage of my car. I would not have been able to successfully navigate that. Like I said, my car is low to the ground. I'm not sitting up in a big SUV. So I stand by my decision to stop and spend the night. And, it got me home a day later. Big deal. I'm alive. Hey, I'm building models. But right now, the last few days, I have been re-establishing things. I've been putting up the kits, dusting them back off, putting them back up on the shelves. Today, you can hear I've got the 3D printers running. Today I had to go ahead and replace the screen in my smaller resin printer. The screen had gone out last week, and I gotten the replacement in, but Wonderfest came up and I didn't have time to replace it. So I did that this morning, and I'm doing a test print now to see how that's working. I've had time to get the bulbs in that I'm going to be putting in the new big one, the new biggin. This is the engine for it. So I'm going to get back to that. I'm going to start tracing wires and start gluing those down today, and we're going to get back on the Grissom train. So hop back down to the table, and we will try to pick up business as usual, as close as humanly possible. Okay, so I figured I'd start today with running the wires from the warp nacelles down into the plate here. I've got my my stranded tiny thin wiring that I'm going to be using for the majority of this, but wherever possible I'm going to be using thicker stuff just to save on, keep this stuff for where I need it. I was able to meet up with my friend again this year in the hallway at Wonderfest, and he handed me another bag of Cat 6 wiring, so I am set until Judgment Day on modeling and our model wiring. And he also gave me a couple of kits of classic, not classic cars, but Tom Daniels weird design cars that he picked up at a garage sale and thought I would like, and I do, and I will do those in the coming months. But what I need to do now, I think, is just go ahead and just do some bare, stick the bulbs where they need to go, and then start cutting my lengths of wiring. Okay, got some progress to show. I've got the bulb in for the strobe. I've wired it through the channel. I stuck the very thin wiring down in the channel, CA'd it into place, and now covering it over with some epoxy sculpt. And now I'll come back and sand that once it's cured and touch it up a bit. But now we are starting the rebuilding process. Yay! Yeah, this is kind of rough to begin with, so I might have to put some putty in there anyway. But see, now this can come out of the top, and this can join it, and then both of these wires will go down this hole and then down to the pylons and down into the bottom pontoon. And now I know how much wiring I need. I can trim this off to length. Okay, so the lighting of the wiring of the nacelles has gone so well that I've decided to carry on with it and start on the underside deck here. And you can see the red and green lights that'll go there. And I'm going to cover over these channels now with some epoxy sculpt and start working on the red lights that will go out of the impulse engine here. Might have to go wider with this trench down the center. I'll have to check to see whether because I've still got two bulbs to fit into here and then joining all of this, so I think I can get to it's staggering the actual joints of it, or the solder joints, that's going to be the issue. I've got enough channeled out for two single strands to run down the center, but I can't have all of the joinery in the same spot because it's not wide enough. Alrighty, I'm mapping out the parts that go on the underside of the deck up this central stalk here, so that I can see where areas where the wiring needs to go will be covered with other parts, so that I can also channel out those parts. But you know, I'm always happy with myself when I'm able to identify a kit bashed part, a part that was used on a model that, oh, I know where that is, that's off another model. And we're in that boat with these pieces right here. If you don't recognize them, turn in your geek card, because even I could tell that it is the same scale part off of the gun of a snow speeder. It is actually not this side with the bump on it, but it is this side. And if you lay that down across it, you can see that it's exactly the same size. So this tells me this was the studio, this was the kit part that they used. This is studio scale. I'm trying to put this back in place. I gotta re-glue that. But if they used this model kit for that part, then this is the scale of the studio part. So there you go. But those go something like that. And you can see where my wiring is starting to come out. I need to channel some of this piece out so that I can hide these connections of the wiring and this bundle that's going to go into the impulse engine. Good morning, everybody. It's Friday. It's the last work day of the week, last work day of the shortened week. And if you can hear in the background, industry is humming. The hub of industry is humming. I've got printers printing. I've got plotter getting ready to plot a big order from Steve that I got last night. Kind of restocking after Wonderfest, which is going to take me most of the weekend, if not into next week, to fill. It is a huge order. But today I want to work on the hopefully finishing up the wiring for the Grissom at least the markers and the strobes. I at least want to get those guys done. I don't know if I'll get all of the strip lighting wired in, but I want to start getting some of this chucked together. Where I'm going to concentrate on today is finishing up the red and green marker lights. I've only got one more set of those to go. I've got a set in the, you can't see, in the nacelles here. I've got the set that goes on the bottom of the deck plate. There is one more set of red and greens, and those go in the tail section here of the pontoon, which I want to go ahead and put those in. Oh, wait a minute, there are two sets. There's the tail section of the pontoon, and then there's up here in the mid sections of the pontoon. So I've got 2 sets of red and greens to go in there. And then I can go back and try to check, make sure I've got all the strobes in, because I've got a big chunk of strobes still have to be wired in. So let me clean everything off the deck here that I'm not going to be working on right away, because it's getting quite confusing in here right now, kids. So we are going to declutter. Okay, so I've got the first 2 lights in of the day. They are the pontoon tail lights. Let me see if I can place a battery on this for your edification here. Go ahead and do that. There you go. Green on that side, red on that side. Now I just need to do the mid pontoon lights. There's a set of lights here, and then I can join all of those wires up back in here, and then fish a new junction wire. While I have all this open area in the pontoon available, I want to make the best use of it. So we go ahead and sink 2 more bulbs in. Oh, and what I'm doing really, I'm using this UV glue, which is amazing stuff, because I can kind of hold the bulb in the hole, fill the hole with the UV glue, hit it with a shot of UV light, and I'm not having near the problems you would with CA running all over the place and having the spritz activator on it. I mean, this stuff is like instantaneous. As soon as you put the light to it, it bonds. So having more fun with that than probably should be legal. Okay, I'm back from lunch and ready to show off a little bit of a light show here. And what I've got is the running light, or the nav lights, running lights on the starboard and on the port side. And those are constantly lit, but they're powered with a battery and a switch from the forward compartment. And now what I'd like to do is get the strobes wired in. There are 3 strobes on the pontoon, 1 on the belly and 2 on the upper decks of the pontoon. So let me go first put that belly one in, and I don't know whether I will be using Elliott's bulbs or not. I couldn't on the nacelles because of the really thin wire I needed to run, so I just used SM LEDs for that. But here I've got all the room in the world for these, so I'm wondering if I could just sink those down. That might be the best solution by the time you... Yeah, I like that. I think I'm going to try to use these ones. I'm going to have to cut them off of the board though, because I need to extend the wiring. So nothing to it but to do it. So here's where we're at. I've got the pontoon all wired up. It is got the strobes are going. Strobe 1, strobe 2, strobe 3, and then I've got the formation lights going on. The green there, front and back, and red on this side, front and back. And I've got the, kind of importantly, I've got the modules wired up. Here's the 2 switches. Now this is the rest of Elliott's board with all the rest of the lights a-blinking that I don't need right now, or haven't gotten to. But it is a question of a couple little snap switches. 1 and 2. It turns everything off. And we can button all of this back up. And I'm thinking the next thing we need to do is run all of the dang wires up through the pylons and push them out the top so that I can put the plate down and then put the engines on top of that. I was going back and forth. Do I need to wire from the top down or from the bottom up? Both have their strengths, both have their weaknesses. I haven't quite decided which way I'm going to go yet, because I'm going to have to start, whatever I do, I'm going to have to start painting, because the area inside here and on the bottom of the deck I'm never going to be able to get to if I don't paint them early. So they're going to have to be painted and then kind of covered up while I am finishing construction. So haven't quite decided. I can't glue this down until I've got the wires coming down through here, and I can't, well, I'm never going to glue this down because it's got magnets. So I just got to figure out the best way to route all these wires, and in what order do they need connected to each other to make a happy starship. So join me as I try to figure this out. I think I'm going to finish up the day jumping back on this saucer section. I need to put the green and red, the last set of green and red lights in, and I can go ahead and do that. And I'll be, let's see, I can also pop in the strobes top and bottom here. That'll give me a well-rounded way to end the day. Alright, for my last trick today, I'm going to simulate the strobe light on the top of the saucer. Got the bulb in place, but I don't have it wired up to Elliot's board, so it's going to look like something like this. As it's strobing along its merry way. Wonderful. Okay, so I think it's time to clean up and box up for the week. Hey, you might not believe it by looking at it, but we've actually made quite a bit of progress this week. For the 2 days that I worked on it, really. Got the wiring in for the strobes and the navs on secondary hull, or the pontoon. Got the nacelles wired up. I've got the saucer wired up to the point where I'm ready to start finalizing some stuff. And then I just have to figure out the proper construction order. I have to do light blocking in here, obviously, but I still think I'm going to be better off finishing up the pontoon, running wires up to the pontoon, or up to the deck, painting the inside of the pylons, painting the bottom of the deck, and then sitting this on and then building the nacelles and the saucer onto the top with the wiring that I've got fed up through there. I think this is going to be ultimately my area that I'm going to be building in or wiring in. So join me next week. We'll see whether it goes to plan or not. And that, my friends, is it for this truncated week. Don't worry, 'tis only a scratch. 'Tis but a scratch. 'Tis but a scratch build. There's something there. Yeah, for the 2 days that I was able to sink into this, I got a proud amount done. I'm proud of what I got done. Not too shabby. So next week we'll pick it back up, have a full week running on it, and we'll see how far down the road we can get. So until next time, be good, be safe, be smart, be back next week.